The year is 2024. PBS Plus has just launched, bringing the world's streaming services to 4,387. How can anyone be expected to go through all this content? Fear not, loyal passengers. Captain Joe Shoes and his first mate Mez are here to travel through space and time to bring you the best nuggets pop culture has to offer. Strap in, folks. It's time for the JoeMeZ podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 386 of the JoeMeZ podcast. I'm Mez, and my co-host, as always, is
the magistrate of Caravan City. I'm Captain Joe Shoes from the JoeMeZ podcast.
Yeah, you are, buddy. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Gomez, what an action-packed week that we had. Tons of news, tons of events, some sad news.
Oh, no. I don't want sad news. Oh, no.
We're going to have to get into it. We can't avoid the sadness because this is part of life.
It is.
It is part of life. So let's just hurry up and welcome everyone to the JoeMeZ podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Remember to hit the subscribe button, leave a 5-star review, follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/@JoeMeZpod. Make sure you're subscribed there. Follow us on all the social media at JoeMeZ. And Gomez, with all that being said, let's hit the breaking news music.
Breaking news. All right, Joe. What are we gonna be talking about here?
This is sad, Gomez. Very, very sad. One of I don't want to say one of the most iconic actors, but he played some of the most iconic characters. Mr. Carl Weathers has passed away.
Oh, it's terrible. What a terrible thing.
So by the time this episode comes out, it's been almost a week, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know he was ill or unwell at any point. He'd been making appearances at conventions, charging a hefty fee to get his autograph and a picture with him. I think Mark Sterling paid like $350 to get a Star Wars figure signed.
Yeah, that Mandalorian money, baby.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of people who I've seen about like saving up so they can meet Carl Weathers because he was doing all these conventions and stuff now. The convention scene is popping right now. Huge popping. It's big money for all these people. It used to be when you would go to a Comic-Con, everyone was kind of like a B or a C level celebrity, right?
Now.
I mean, you have A-listers showing like Tom Hiddleston just did MegaCon here in Orlando last weekend.
Yeah, that's
crazy. Tom Hiddleston's a big star.
You don't need to
Ewan McGregor showing up to do these things. He's a big star.
Insane. Yeah.
I understand you get like the voice actors, like Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime. Yeah, he shows up and does a lot. Alan Oppenheimer, now that he's elderly, does appearances on the West Coast if it's close to home or whatever. But like you're getting like prime of their career type people anymore. It's not just people like Ernie Hudson is the only Ghostbuster you're ever gonna meet,
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, so getting Carl Weathers for a lot of people would have been a big deal. I mean, Apollo Creed is one of the all-time great antagonists in film.
Yes, sir.
Like this is an iconic character.
Yes.
And then you think about Dylan from Predator, and you think about him playing himself as a super cheapskate in Arrested Development.
So good. I always forget about that. And I go, oh my God, that's right. It was classic stuff.
And apparently that was his idea to play it that way. Because I guess
saw that, yeah.
I just saw it now. I never saw any interviews before that where this was ever noted, but he didn't want to do just like Rocky sight gag jokes.
Yeah.
So he was like, what if I was really cheap? And then they write like him being just
basically
super
homeless.
Yeah.
It's just like, I love it. Classic stuff, bro.
So that's really sad. And like I said, I never heard any stories about him, being sick or anything. It seemed like he was, fairly active and nimble up until the last day.
He looked great, bro. He looked great. Wasn't like he looked sickly or nothing. He would still look like Carl Weathers. He still looked good.
And when people start listing his accomplishments, it's crazy to think like the 45th thing on the list that they say is, oh yeah, he also played linebacker for the Raiders.
Yeah, bro. From the CFL to the NFL. It's pretty crazy. That's pretty,
Yeah.
that alone is pretty like, wow, you had a crazy life. Good for you, bro.
Yeah.
And then he iconic grow after iconic grow. Pretty crazy, bro. Oh,
so yeah, that's our sad news. You have any other Carl Weathers roles you can think of, Gomez? I know you had a little Twitch stream that went up almost that evening.
Yeah, I put it up because, like I said, why not? I'm sitting at home doing nothing. I was gonna watch the movies. I said maybe other people want to watch these movies. So one of the movies I showed was Action Jackson. I had never seen this movie, but when people bring up Carl Weathers, this is something they bring up because this is him as a leading man. This is his movie. He's the main guy.
Yeah,
and it's basically him just kicking ass. It's this 90 action movie where he's just fucking the cheesy one-liners, the fucking over the top shit. It was fantastic. What a picture. I loved it. It was so good, bro.
I've never seen it.
It's so good. I gotta get you a copy. You would love it. This is a Joe movie. You're gonna be like, how have I never seen this before? You're gonna be sad all over again. You're like, oh man, Carl Weathers, bro.
Now I'm really gonna miss him.
We played Hurricane Smith. It was good, not as good, but it's the same kind of thing. Him kicking ass in Australia. His sister moves to Australia. He has to bring her back to the U.S. Crazy.
I mean, that's a good place to do it.
It looked nice.
Australia does need a good ass kicking every once in a while.
It's been a while.
Who better to do it than Carl Weathers?
Oh, not no more. We'll get you back next time, Australia. But yeah, that's why I say follow the Twitch stream. You never know. I might pop up anytime. Have some fun.
So that's our sad news this week, Gomez. Yes. But let's talk about some actual news. We got some entertainment news out there. The Grammys were this past week, and Taylor Swift won her 13th Grammy and took the opportunity to announce that she's coming out with a new album, and not just a new Taylor's version album, which is what was being rumored this whole time.
Yes,
she's got a whole album of brand new music, and that's coming out on April 19th. The Tortured Poets Department.
What a title! Oh, Pete Wentz is kicking himself, going, "Damn, Taylor, what a title!"
You know what's funny is like she gets up there and she's like, "Oh, I've had this secret I've been keeping in," and I don't know if people were expecting the Taylor's version album or if she was gonna say like, "Oh, I'm engaged" or whatever. Like,
that'd be crazy.
It was it was almost like people were on the edge of their seats, like queasy, like they really didn't know what to expect.
You never know what's up, but yeah, the rumor was that it was going to be the Reputation re-release, the Taylor version. Mm-hmm. Even the outfit she had, it was very. My wife was like, "Oh, that looks like a Reputation. This is it. She's dropping it." She was getting all excited, and even better news: a brand new album. God damn!
I mean, it's a lot better news because Reputation is not her best. I mean,
There's
I know
some songs on there.
I know we're on like the edge of what's left for her to redo. In all honesty, I'm not begging for a new Reputation.
Don't be hating. There's some gems on there, bro.
Yeah, it's easily skippable for me.
I mean, there's a lot of Taylor, so yeah, I think something's got to be on the bottom, but I still think that bottom is good.
On Peacock in March, Gomez.
Oh, what's going on?
A new documentary about Stormy Daniels. Are you interested in a Stormy Daniels documentary?
I mean, I guess, especially with all the extra stuff that happened later on. Is it mostly about that?
I assume
the like kind of stuff.
That's what I assume it's gotta be about. It's just like the life and times of Stormy Daniels. Now, Stormy was a huge star in the adult entertainment industry in the early 2000s, I would say. She was a massive star. She's one of the bigger names in the industry. But then she got out, as everyone does at some point.
They all do, yeah.
And now she's most known, I would say, for this involvement with Donald Trump and all that. I don't know that it requires a documentary, but Peacock's giving it to her. So it's just simply going to be called Stormy.
It's got to be. It's probably going to be like 5 to 10 minutes about all the other stuff. and just heavily into the Trump stuff, because it seems like why else now? Why now in 2024? Like, there was a very long time ago that Trump, like, that's been passed. So to bring it up now, I feel like we're trying to capitalize on the upcoming election here.
Well, speaking of stuff that's happening now, Gomez,
Ooh,
season 6, the final season of Cobra Kai is back in production.
Oh, nice. I know. I'm so sad. We usually have that to start our year. We usually get some Cobra Kai to start us off. That damn strike, bro.
We had the strike and the writer's strike on top of that. So then they had to finish writing when that strike was over. Now they're posting on social media that they're on set, they're filming, that it's going to be kick-ass, and everyone's going to go home happy. And I know we've said this. We say it whenever there's a new season of Cobra Kai. I can't believe this show has made it 6 seasons. When the
6
first
seasons is wild.
When the first season came out, myself, if I'm either the biggest Karate Kid fan I know, or I'm like second. Sure. And I'm going, I don't really think we need a fucking series about this, but okay. And then it ends up being awesome. And I'm sitting there ready to hump the wall if it had a vagina in the immediate aftermath. I looked into joining a karate dojo. Then I thought better of it. I simply went on eBay and bought a trophy that says I was a karate champion.
Much better.
I have it. It says like 2017 JoeMeZ podcast with the little karate man on top of it.
Work smart, not hard, folks.
But I cannot believe now we're 6 seasons into this, and like, oh, it's wrapping up, and I'm
Can't wait. Damn.
Going, man, I'm gonna miss that Cobra Kai.
I'm gonna miss it, but it is time to wrap it up. It's time. It's definitely time to wrap it up. What did they mention anything about this movie, right? Because remember, there's supposed to be like a movie coming out that crosses both Karate Kids or something. Remember that? With the Jackie Chan
the Hilary
and
Swank?
the Ralph.
Oh, yes, there is. I think that's different though, isn't it? That's going to be completely independent. They were doing a casting thing, where they were looking for basically unknown kids who could fit the bill, and then it was going to be Jackie Chan be coming back and stuff. So,
because I'm very interested in how that works. I want to see the cross promotion.
So last thing I got for our entertainment news, Gomez, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. Apparently that's a big deal to some people. A few people watch it every year. No,
just a couple.
Yeah. A good handful of people. You may have a couple neighbors may talk about it. Maybe at work there's some water cooler chatter. But one of the big stories that I saw and I found very interesting is that the advertisers for this year, and the Super Bowl commercials are normally some of the most talked about items that go along with this. You have people who don't even enjoy football who will watch to see these usually very high budget commercials and see how they're done. But they're playing it very safe this year. All these big corporations are deathly afraid of offending people. And so they're not pushing the envelope like they used to in prior years.
Boo earns. Terrible.
Now,
terrible.
I don't even see where a Super Bowl commercial is as necessary as it used to be. With the internet, with the way social media works, with the way stuff gets shared around. Paramount Plus put out their commercial last week, I think, and we shared it on our social media. It was a banger.
Fucking fantastic.
If you guys haven't seen it, you can find it on our social media. It was posted in our group as well on Facebook. Simply search JoeMeZ Podcast on Facebook to find the group, and it's free, so join up. But it's Patrick Stewart. It's Tua Tagovailoa. It's Hey Arnold. It's the band Creed. It is this entirely outrageous amalgamation of characters just being themselves, really, except Patrick Stewart, who was just having a good time.
I don't know what he was doing, but we loved it. But
yeah, it's fantastic. And you look at that and you go, do they have to pay CBS $10 million now for 30 seconds of ad time when we've all already seen the commercial and it was shared by everyone possibly under the sun?
That's a good point. Like at this point, pull it pull it.
Yeah,
Save your
right?
money, bro. What are you doing? It's true.
And
I
that's
do
been the
hate that.
past couple years now, I
Yeah,
feel
I
like.
hate
All
that.
the best ads are leaking out, or not even leaking out, they're
They just put
being
them
put
out
out
the
beforehand.
week of. Yeah. By the time Sunday
So
comes, there's
what do
nothing.
we need to wait for the Super Bowl for?
Pretty much the trailers, right? The movie trailers don't get released early. The commercials, you'll still get 1 or 2 trailers, like, oh, we might get a Deadpool trailer or something like that. That don't make us wait. But the commercials, I hate that. It's like, come on, that's the fun of it. Because the one time, right? I mean, you're gonna get 20, 30, 40 million, whatever the number is, watching. When you ever get that number to watch live
Yeah.
TV? So I get capitalizing on it. But if you're gonna put it out on the internet, save your money, bro.
And if it's good and it gets shared around like this Paramount ad did, I mean,
Yeah,
once I saw it, it felt like it was everywhere.
of course, yes.
And people were sharing it all over the place. Everyone was talking about it the next day. Like, once again, it was being shared on Instagram, it was being shared on Twitter, it was being shared on. So it's hitting all the social media platforms. At that point, like, what do you need to pay for?
Crazy. Joe, what do you know what number Super Bowl this is?
52.
You were kind of close. 58. Do you remember? I feel like growing up, they really pushed that number on us, right? It was always, this is Super Bowl 32. Nowadays, it's just kind of, it's the Super Bowl. Like, you don't really hear that, right?
You do. I just think it meant more to us because as kids, everything seems more important to you as a kid.
Sure.
So, like, I always go back to the first Super Bowl I can actively remember watching is Super Bowl 24. And why that always sticks out is just because it felt like a big, oh, wow, there's been 24 Super Bowls.
Right, exactly.
My God.
It's like, oh, this
and
is
the
crazy.
49ers blew out the Denver Broncos that year, 55-10. I remember watching at my aunt and uncle's house in Long Island. And like, no one even had fun because it was such a blowout. But I remember one of the big appeals for me when we go back to the commercials was the Bud Bowl.
Of course,
It was Bud Light versus Bud, and they had the third beer was a free agent, and they were going to see what team he ended on. It was Bud Dry, and Bud Dry was going to pick a team.
Chris Berman for Bud Bowl Update. It's been almost a year since that controversial fumble gave Budweiser the win in Bud Bowl 2. Bud Light has struck back by making quarterback sensation Bud Dry its top draft choice. Big and bold with that rifle arm. Bud Dry is the coolest thing to hit the PFL since Budway Joe. Will Bud Dry sign in time for Bud Bowl 3? Bud Bowl Update will keep you informed as this all-important story develops.
But that's what I remember. So I think the numbers, I don't think they've ever gone away. With WrestleMania, you see, like, they don't really push the WrestleMania numbers anymore.
Definitely not. This year they are, because it's 40. They could do the XL. So you notice that, like, they doing that.
I just think it gets to a certain point where you go, like, how many of these are we really going to do? UFC. Remember, UFC tried taking away the numbers at one point, and then they
said,
the fans kind of were like, no, we need our numbers, because they were going to end the numbers at like UFC 100. I remember, I think was going to be that. We're going to do UFC 100, and then we'll back off the numbers. It'll just be, UFC live in Vegas.
Yeah, just UFC Vegas. This April, UFC 300 is coming.
Is it real? Are we up to 300 already?
Pretty crazy, right?
I mean, so when you think about it, and I'm going, like, I haven't really paid any attention to UFC, and I was never a big UFC guy to begin with. You were. You and other friends of ours were UFC guys. So I like the social aspect of it, where I would come in, hang out,
some drinks,
have a couple adult beverages and some nachos.
Yeah.
I like nachos. If you give me an opportunity to come hang out and have nachos, I'm probably going to come. Actually, back then, yes. Nowadays, I'm probably not going to go anywhere. I still want to be invited because I at least want to have to give an excuse as to why I won't come. I'm probably not going to show up, but I think it would be fucked up if I don't get invited. So I please continue to invite me to things, but know full well, maybe I'm washing my hair that evening. Maybe I can't find a babysitter. I'm probably really busy.
It happens to the best of us.
And speaking of nachos, JoeMeZ.
What?
You like that transition, right?
I love it. I'm so excited now too, because I love nachos. So
Well, this isn't necessarily a nacho, but we're in the same family because it's our
Okay.
friends at Old El Paso
Okay, what they doing over there,
are
bro? What they
doing
got
a
going?
collaboration for a dessert taco shell with cinnamon toast crunch.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm with it, baby. Give it to me. I want it right now.
So these are going to be like cinnamon dusted taco shells. You could use at home, maybe make your own choco taco if you like.
God, those were the best. I miss them every day, bro.
By the time this episode comes out, they will be available exclusively at walmart.com until supplies run out.
.com, okay.
But then they will hit retailers nationwide next month in March.
All right, sure.
So walmart.com is just getting the heads up right now.
All right. Maybe I can wait, but I am interested. I always see recipes like that, right? It's like you take a tortilla, we're gonna put some cinnamon on it, put some ice cream in there. Now they do it for you. Woo-hoo, sign me up, baby.
I mean, if you like recipes for dessert, our friends at Betty Crocker.
Ooh, what they got going on?
A
This
whole
is an exciting
bunch
episode.
of Oreo things. Oreo everything. We got Oreo cake mix, Oreo lava cake mix, Oreo brownie mix, Oreo cream frosting. They're putting out a whole line of Oreo. And I'm an Oreo guy, Gomez. I mean, I'm not going to buy any of this because then I'd have to make it myself. I want pre-prepared Oreo items.
Bro, buy the frosting if it tastes like Oreo cream. Come on, baby.
Well, the frosting I will buy every now and then just to have with a spoon. I'll take a couple spoons.
It's the best.
You know, like people do that with peanut butter. They have a couple spoonfuls. They put it. That's me with frosting.
I do that too.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah, so a whole line of Oreo stuff. Everyone loves Oreo. In fact, over on youtube.com/JoeShoes, I got a brand new video trying out brand new Space Dunk Oreos. I myself went into space, brought these back and tried them. That way you should know whether you should try them. And those Space Dunk Oreos, they were available exclusively at Oreo.com for a while, but now you should be able to find them at stores nationwide.
Bro, I'm in space. I ain't see shit.
Well,
where the fuck these Oreos at?
You made a right when you should have made a left.
Fucking Albuquerque. God damn it. It's bullshit.
And we got some shake news, Gomez. You're a shake guy, right?
Bro, you are you making oof. All right. What we got?
Now, this is not something I get excited for, but the Shamrock Shake is back at McDonald's already. It doesn't seem like it's hit every McDonald's, but it's been around enough where it's the other McDonald's are just catching up now at this point. So that's going to be back in shake or McFlurry form. So if you're a classic Shamrock Shake person, that should be there. Or if you want the McFlurry version. I'm not a mint dessert person. Really,
I am. I like junior mints and stuff. And recently, I've tried mint ice cream. I've always been like, I don't want that, but I'm like, but I eat junior mints and peppermint patties and stuff like that. Thin mint cookies. So I'm like, why wouldn't I try the ice cream? And
not my thing. There used to be at a bar I went to, the bartender would make a thin mint shot.
Ooh,
and
I would have it for it.
I would have it because everyone else was having it, you know, like you're in a group and she's like, hey, anybody want to, I'll make a round of shots. And I'm like, all right, fine. But it wasn't something I was ordering on my own.
Yeah, I got to be in the mood for the mint. It's not something I do all the time. You mentioned shake. I tried 2 new shakes at the Sonic, Joe. I went to the Sonic.
Is this the peanut butter one? I saw they were doing a lot of peanut butter items.
Yeah, so they got like a peanut butter cheeseburger. And they got a peanut butter shake, the peanut butter and bacon, milkshake. It was delicious. Perfect.
Really?
Wonderful. Oh, yeah, I love it. They've done it before, and I've done peanut butter. Peanut butter and bacon. It's a delicious thing, baby. Salty, sweet.
I've stayed away from Sonic for a while now because the last couple of things I've tried and that I did review videos on were wildly disappointing. To the point where I was like, whenever I see them come out with something, especially their burgers aren't really the best.
The food is not great. I like their snacky foods. I really
their tots are great, especially because when we've spoken about this before, we don't get tots in enough places.
Yes, love the tots. I do. They got tots now with they do tot nachos, as they're calling it.
Tachos.
And they put a little pulled pork on top, a little barbecue sauce. I didn't try it, but it looked good. It looked good. The other shake I had there was a chocolate covered strawberry shake. So it was like a shake, and they put little strawberry pieces and chocolate chunks. It was good. You know, I get it. I've never really disappointed with the shakes. I enjoy their shakes.
No, their shakes are normally, they've something about it. They're like extra thick. Like you feel like you're not just having like soft serve ice cream. It feels like
No,
a
yeah,
milkshake.
it's a
Yeah.
fucking shake. Yeah, it's good. So
That's
I
why I
love me
always felt that way
That's
about White Castle shakes too. My mom was big on
Yes.
that. She always felt that way about White Castle. There was nothing like a White Castle milkshake because it was just
I
something
agree.
about the thickness and consistency of it that she was like, if we're going there, we got to have a fucking chocolate shake.
You got to wash down those burgers.
And speaking of shakes, JoeMeZ, Del Taco is celebrating its 60th anniversary this year. It's 60th birthday this year.
That's crazy. 60, damn.
Now, do you have Del Taco? There are no real Del Tacos by you, right?
I
Del
think I had it
Taco's
once in Vegas.
mainly a
maybe?
West Coast thing. I've had it down here. They're not abundant by me and by any means. I know there's a guy on Twitter who's been begging me to do a Del Taco review for a while, but it's like very out of the way for me to do. But Del Taco is celebrating their 60th birthday with a new birthday cake shake. That seems like a perfect way to do it.
That's good. Do they normally do stuff like that? Like, are they having fun things on their menu? Like, do you see that
I
shit pop
really
up?
don't know. I mean, I look for new items, and when I see them, but I don't really see Del Taco come up a lot in my search.
I never really know. Like, it's something I always forget exists. It's never something anyone talks about or anything like that. Oh, that's a shame. Poor Del Taco. No
so
respect.
maybe I gotta look. Maybe I'll be able to take a trip. I got some busy times coming up. Bunch of stuff that I'll be doing or appearing or trying. I got Toy this weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear about this, bro.
So if you're in the greater Cleveland area, I believe it's about an hour outside of Cleveland. Come see me. Tickets are like $5 in advance.
Okay.
Or they're like $10 at the door. And then you come meet me. I'll be there with Brian Myers, Moose, and Danhausen. Apparently, a couple of those people like Danhausen. He's mildly popular.
He's pretty popular for $10, bro. That's pretty damn good.
I'll be looking for some toys. I got some stuff on the mind that I may be hunting for. So I'll be doing a little shopping myself.
There's a whole bunch of like vendors and people.
It's a huge toy convention.
Ooh,
I've seen videos of the past ones. So I'm excited to be able to go to this.
Ooh,
and it's a one-day thing. It's not like a whole weekend.
Really?
It's
just one day?
Just Saturday. So if you're listening on Thursday or Friday, be there on Saturday in Girard, Ohio.
Oh, awesome. All right. I can't wait.
So a nice one-day show, big-ass toy convention. Come down, meet the special guests, and let's go toy hunting.
Yeah, Captain Joe and TNA Champ Moose. Oh, baby, what a combo.
Yeah, I don't think we've met before. Maybe
I was going to ask if you ever met.
Actually, I think we have met maybe like once, but it was only in passing. We were on a show together or something. But
I can't wait. It's going to be your best friend, I bet. I love Moose now. That's what I'm gonna hear.
Who knows? Whenever we go to these things, people are always amazed at the people I become friends with. Like when I went to Broski's New Year's Eve party, by the end of it, me and John Morrison were like BFF.
I love that. Why wouldn't you be BFFs with John Morrison? It makes sense, bro. It works. Come on.
It's always something like shoes always makes a friend somewhere. So even like the last live show, by the end of it, me and Ricky Morton were like super close, like hanging out, sharing stories. Me and Savio Vega hanging out. Like there's always, it just seems like there's always an instance where I just make a friend.
You're so lovable. How can they resist?
I'm very personable.
You are.
I watched only a couple extra things in addition to our main event this week, but one of them is something I've never seen before. Well, actually, both of them are, but this one in particular, I've never seen it before, yet it has lived rent-free in my head for over a decade now. And when the trailer for this movie first came out, and the movie came out in 2010, it's got Harrison Ford, my double main man, Brendan Fraser. And I saw this commercial, and it's Harrison Ford simply yelling, I already work around the clock. And I have said that individual line over and over thousands of times. Thousands of times. I've probably tweeted it 100 times on its own. I've never seen this movie. Never,
so crazy.
Ever seen I Already Work Around the Clock, the major motion picture.
It's so crazy. I assumed you had seen it. When you said that to me, I was like, wait, what?
So I didn't even know what the movie was about. Like, just from the commercials alone, I just thought like Harrison Ford looks like he's a scientist, and Brendan Fraser's like, I don't know, if we work harder, if we work around the clock, and Harrison Ford goes, I already work around the clock. So I just assumed Harrison Ford was like mad passionate about his lab, and working around the clock and stuff. Like, so I didn't know. For all I knew, the movie is like 2 hours of people coming in and out going, hey, Harrison Ford, want to come to lunch? And he's like, no, I need to work around the clock. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I won't come back. And he's like, no, get out of my lab. Like, he's very passionate about his lab. That's what I just expected the movie to be about.
Boy, that's not what that movie's about, is it, Joe?
So I'm just going to read the IMDb synopsis of this film.
I can't wait to hear it.
The movie is entitled Extraordinary Measures, which really doesn't give anything away in the title.
Sure.
It's a 2010 film, and it is a drama centered on the efforts of John and Eileen Crowley to find a researcher who might have a cure for their 2 children's rare genetic disorder. What?
Them kids are dying, bro.
There are dying children, and I just thought it was a movie about Harrison Ford being a grumpy old man and wanting people to get out of his fucking lab.
Nope. It is not grumpy old scientist, Joe. It is not at all.
Like, just leave me alone in my lab and be gone. And no, it's not what it's about at all.
Please save my child.
Wait, that's exactly what it's Brendan Fraser and Kerry Russell like begging Harrison Ford, like, please, you may have research that could crack the code on how to cure our children. And even in the movie, when it finally builds up to that one line, it's like a throwaway, like it's just another line. And I'm like, what do you mean it's just that's the whole movie is that line?
Oh my god.
The movie's not very good.
Oh, that's sad to hear. I couldn't imagine it to be very good. I figured it'd be like, is it very sad? Like, is it?
No, I don't. I don't think it's very good storytelling at all. In all honesty, as a movie, it's not good. It's just like, oh, we have 6 children. Oh, you're a researcher who's looking into this disease, and and then it's like a lot of like business and science, and then it's just like, oh, here's the epilogue. Why didn't you just make it about Harrison Ford kicking people out of his lab? That was hilarious.
That's not a bad idea for a movie. We need more scientist movies where they're not so stressed trying to save the world and stuff.
No, they just want to be left alone in their labs to listen to rock music while they work.
Like, who would want to be a scientist? All you ever see is, you must save us, man. I want to play with a beaker.
I want fun science.
Do one of these, make it foam up or something. Play with the Bunsen burner, stuff like that, bro.
Yeah, like those kids science
the
kids.
World. Oh my god.
That's why Bill Nye got over. Like Bill Nye was having fun.
He was having fun. Yes. Showing you cool little things you could do at your house, a little experiments.
Mr. Wizard having a great time. Super Dave Osborne having a great time.
Oh, you ever watch Beekman's World?
Beekman's World. I always felt like Beekman's World was like the Temu version of Bill Nye.
That was like the low rent, like, oh boy, we can't afford cable. What's our public access?
Hey, Mom, can we get Bill Nye? No, we have Bill Nye at home, and it's fucking Beekman's World.
Oh, no one else. We're gonna get hate mail now. Beekman's World's the best. I love science now because of him. Shut up, nerd. Oh, Joe, I watched a couple things this week. Nothing as exciting as you did. I mean, that's pretty exciting stuff.
It's a decade in the making.
Yeah, finally crossing off something off your watch list. That is pretty exciting. I watched something that's brand new, just came out this past weekend. It's on Amazon Prime. It is the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith television show. I don't know, we say television show series, excuse me.
Oh, I've heard about
This
this.
Yes, it stars Donald Glover. I forget the lady's name. I've never seen her in anything, but people seem to dig her. So this is not. Are you familiar with the Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie?
I've never seen the movie, but I know the premise of it. Like they're both spies, right? And they don't know the other
Yeah.
one is a spy.
Yeah, so that's how that one works. So this one kind of just takes the idea of the movie and it
expands it.
Turns it into something different where these are two people who don't know each other and they have to pretend to be married. Is the mission.
Okay.
So it's just two random people sign up for this agency, whatever the fuck it is, and now they come together to try to do some missions. The first episode's about an hour. The rest of the season is about 40 minutes. I think there's 10 episodes. I watched 2 of them, and it was pretty good. It's pretty interesting. The characters are good. Donald Glover is good, and I sorry I didn't write this lady's name down. She's fantastic too. The 2 leads are good, right? Because everyone talks about how could you remake this, right? Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, the chemistry, but they're pretty good. They work well off each other. It's definitely something I'm gonna come back and check out.
It sounds like a time investment, so that's gonna be something.
It is 10 episodes.
Yeah.
They all dropped. It's Amazon, so all the episodes are out already.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Donald Glover was also in the news this week because as he was doing press for this show, he was asked about the Community movie. Now, you and I were both big fans of Community, and he said the script is pretty much done, right? Is what he was saying. And everybody's on board. He's on board, but it's going to be a matter of timing. And if they can get everyone together, which seems like he's already making an excuse for being too busy to do it.
Because, I mean, listen, I love Community. Would I watch a Community movie? Of course I would. But I can't imagine that's on anyone's high priority list of when they're picking their projects for the year. I got to make time for the Community movie.
If you think about it, outside of him, what's everyone else doing?
Right? Joel McHale's got season 2 of that show that you watched, the Animal Control. That's back, bro.
I mean, sure, he was in a couple episodes of The Bear.
So he gets around. Is he a host of something? I feel like he's a host.
I feel like he is
shows,
he's hosting some kind of show right now. But Alison Brie is doing these movies here and there with her husband. They write and direct these smaller movies.
They do.
Gillian Jacobs was just in something, and
I feel like I haven't seen her in a long time.
Yeah, Yvette Nicole Brown pops up here and there. I can't imagine they're bringing Chevy back.
He's probably not allowed back. Yeah. Back. He probably, he talks his shit. He don't want to come back. And if Donald Glover's talking about doing it, then Chevy,
100%.
He's been very vocal.
And Danny Pudi, I mean, DuckTales is canceled, right? Like, so.
I forgot. That's right. He is on DuckTales. But seeing him in real life, I feel like he did pop up in something where I was like, oh my God, wow. But I said, oh my God, wow, because it was like, what is this guy doing? It's been forever.
Gillian Jacobs was in Winning Time. That's where I remember seeing him.
That's right. Yes.
She was Pat Riley's wife.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Okay.
So, but it's not like, I'm sure they're doing other stuff, but it's not like they're all so busy.
So then it's all about Mr. Gambino, please.
And that's your friends a month. That was the downfall of the show, if you ask me. Is it after he left the show originally, it was never the same.
100%. It was still good, but it was, Troy and Abed's very important to the show.
I think Troy and Abed might be like the most important relationship on the show.
Sure. Because they were the rock, right? Everyone else had their ups and downs, and you can always count on them to
whereas the show started basically as a vehicle for Jeff and Britta, I think it really made the pivot to, like, Jeff was always the main guy, but the show really was at its best when Troy and Abed were the focal relationship, and they had to bail out of that Jeff and Britta romance kind of quickly.
All the Jeff romances did not work.
No, and the Annie one is just weird now looking back.
It's very weird. It's terrible. No good. But show's good. Even that Yahoo season's got some good stuff in there.
There are hidden things here and there. You know, certain episodes hit better than others. They bring in the guy from Breaking Bad at one point, and
yes, they start bringing in people. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I can't tell you anything that happened in that season, but I just remember going, yeah, there was one or two things that were, it wasn't terrible, but yeah, I remember that a season on. Yeah, I don't even remember what was that app. I don't remember how we watched that fucking thing.
We didn't watch. We didn't. Is the thing. No one did. I didn't watch it until the show got added to like Hulu or something with the final season. So it was probably 2 years after the fact until I watched the final season.
We've been through it all, guys. These damn streaming platforms.
Remember, hey, Cobra Kai. We just spoke about Cobra Kai. That started as a YouTube series, YouTube Red.
Yes, sir. Now you pay for YouTube so you don't get commercials. Now they don't give you shows no more. At least you got shows back then. Now it's just like, you don't want commercials? Here you go. Boom.
They do give you a bunch of movies though if you're subscribed.
I'm subscribed. There's movies.
Yeah. There's a bunch of free movies there. If you just go to the movies tab, there's a whole set. And I think they also have maybe with Max. So if you're subscribed to YouTube Premium or whatever, I think you get the movies that are on Max. So I happened to be scrolling the other night. I watched The American President with Michael Douglas.
How was it? Did you enjoy it?
I'm Andrew Shepard, and I am the president. Great movie. Love it.
I love it.
I love the idea of the president just being horny on Maine. Like he meets a chick he likes and he just goes for it. Good for him.
Do you think a single president would be elected in our times? I don't know. People be getting crazy about the stupidest things. This guy's not married. How can we trust him to run the country?
I know.
Like, what? What are you talking about, bro? Oh, November. Oh, Jesus. You got something else, Joe? I got one other thing I watched.
So I got one other thing. This was a new release on Netflix this week, GoeMeZ. And I know you haven't watched it. I want you to watch it, though. Even if you don't talk about it on this show, I think you're just going to enjoy it. And I think a lot of people would, especially if you're in our age bracket, because the song We Are the World that came out in 1985 was a massive, huge hit. And I was 3 years old at the time. So you hear throughout the years, oh, it's got Bruce Springsteen, it's got Michael Jackson, it's got this person, that person. And you're just like, oh, yeah, that's cool. There's a documentary on Netflix called The Greatest Night in Pop. And it runs just over an hour and a half. And it's a documentary about the making of this song and what it took to get everyone together for one night to record this one song. Because one of the overriding themes of the 80s was children starving in Africa. And it was like a meme. Before there were memes, it was always a joke. Oh, don't throw this out. There's children starving in Africa. Every day, wherever you went, you heard about the starving children. And this song comes about because Harry Belafonte, very popular singer for decades and decades, but he was also a very committed activist. And he had this idea to get a bunch of celebrities or singers in one place at one time, do a song for charity to raise money so they could donate to these African countries and towns where Ethiopia was really what it was.
Yes, Ethiopia.
But to feed these starving children, because there were stories all over about people just literally dying of starvation. And it's the story about what goes in to making that song, the background of putting a song together where it becomes Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson writing the song together, and then getting Quincy Jones on board to produce, and then Quincy coming up with who they even want there. Then it becomes, how are we going to get everyone there? Then it becomes, which person's going to sing which part? Are we going to offend people? Do you think we could get Prince in the same room as Michael? Because there was some heat there. And they have a bunch of archival footage from that night because the music video was they only had one night to do this. So
crazy.
They're filming the music video for it because MTV was the thing at the time. So there's all this archival footage that was really never seen before. And they get a lot of people to come back and do interviews for this documentary. It ends up being a really cool documentary. So Netflix, that recently they did that Wham documentary that I think we both watched. I wasn't really a fan of it. It was just very blah to me. This one, I was like, holy shit, now this is fucking cool. Now we got Cyndi Lauper here. Now we got Huey Lewis here. Now we got Steve Perry. And watching them from the archival footage, watching them around each other is badass. And then Sheila E. is in this. And it was almost like they only wanted Sheila E. because they were hoping Prince would come with her, because they had a part of the song selected for Prince to sing. And they kept asking Sheila E., like, oh, do you think Prince is going to come? Do you think Prince is coming? Is he coming yet? Is Prince going to come? So finally, she just gets fed up because she feels like she's being used, and she bounces. And they're like, I guess there goes our shot with Prince. All right, Huey Lewis, you're singing his solo now.
It's a big difference between Prince and Huey.
And then Huey Lewis, they bring in Huey Lewis now, and then he's like, all of a sudden, I got to sing Prince's part.
That's good. It sounds good. I saw that came out. It dropped. I saw people talking about it. It's definitely something I'm gonna put on my list there. It sounds like a good time.
I think if you're old enough to remember the song, and I don't remember like why it was such a big deal, like in the moment, I was super young, but I do remember it being it was a song you heard all the time. So like looking back at it, to see this collection of people, and it's over 40 like big time stars: Springsteen, Harry Belafonte, Lionel Richie, Ray Charles, like Stevie Wonder. These are not like lower tier people. You know what I mean?
Legends, all legends, bro.
It's wild. And to see them all in one place at one time is incredible. And they said even at one point, I think Cyndi Lauper was the one who started it. So they all had like their notes and what part of the song they were, outlined for them and whatever. Cyndi Lauper started going around and having everybody sign it for her. So then, like, once the ice was cracked, then they all started doing the same thing.
So funny. Bunch of marks.
So, yeah, go check that out. It's called The Greatest Night in Pop, and that's on Netflix right now. So just over an hour and a half. Once you get into it, once they're kind of done laying the groundwork for the first couple of minutes, it like really picks up, and Lionel Richie starts telling stories about going over to Michael Jackson's house to have to write this song, and some fucking wild stories, dude.
Oh, you got me excited. It's going to the top of the list, Joe. It's going to the top of the list. I can't wait. So, Joe, I watched one other thing. I watched something that I've been putting it off. But I don't know why. I think it came up on my suggested after I watched something else. So I said, you know what? Let me check this out. I watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. This has been out for a couple years now, right? It came out before the pandemic.
Yeah, I want to say before the pandemic. Was this an Amazon Prime movie?
Something like that. I remember.
I was gonna say I don't necessarily remember it getting a real release, but I want to say it was on Prime or something.
Some shit. I never got around to it. The buzz, obviously, Kevin Smith movies, the buzz is never really good, right? I mean, I can't remember the last time he had a good buzz for one of his movies. So I put it off. So I finally decided to watch it. I had some free time this weekend. And I didn't hate the movie. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being with these characters.
I thought it was fine. I remember watching it like when it first came out.
Like I wasn't fucking cracking up, laughing, but it was just like it was fun to hang out with these characters again, and just it was nice. It was a nice little story about him being a dad. I was kind of rocking with it.
It's Jay and Silent Bob doing Jay and Silent Bob things.
Like you know what you're getting, right? You put on the movie, you can't be like, what the fuck? Like it's exactly what you would think the movie is.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not, all 4 stars, but 2.5, 3 stars, it's fine. If you like Kevin Smith and you've been putting it off, I think this is, it's no Clerks 3, right? I think Clerks 3 is fantastic.
Clerks 3 was good, surprisingly good. It was a movie I definitely wasn't looking forward to.
Very good. No, and I walked away like, oh wow, that was a good ass movie. It's not as good like that, but again, hanging with these characters, they're so old, it makes me feel so fucking old seeing these people look old.
Because remember when it's funny now because Clerks has been on the brain for me a lot with Major Bendy's doing Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes, that's also
Major
one of the
Bendy's.
reasons. Yeah.
So now everybody's talking about Clerks. When like Mallrats came out, when I was a freshman, a sophomore in high school, Clerks and Mallrats were like the movies everybody watched.
Yes.
And at the time, they were like very meaningful to my popular culture. Like, okay, this is the kind of lifestyle I'm in. Brody was the cool guy. Oh, so what if he liked comics? Like he had a hot girlfriend and he was witty and smart and funny. Like, and it was like that slacker culture of the early to mid 90s, which was completely wiped out by the end of the decade, So it's like the 80s has an over encompassing vibe to it. The 70s, the 60s, the 90s really can be broken up into different parts. Because there's that slacker culture from the early part of the decade. By the end of the decade, those people are fucking losers, and it's all about the extreme, the
come on, bro,
new
let's
metal.
go.
It really is a 180 from the beginning of the decade.
Yes, 100%.
And to watch Clerks now, I find to be very difficult. The original Clerks, just because it's such a moment in time. Like it's such a product of its time that for those of us who didn't experience it or live it, I don't know. I would be super interested to see like if someone's a freshman in high school now and they watch Clerks, like what do they think of this movie? Because for me, it's hard. It's a hard movie to watch now.
Right away. First of all, it being in black and white already, you're going to have people just not even paying any attention to it.
But the real talk, when it came out on video, I remember me and my buddy went to Blockbuster and rented this movie, not thinking anything of it. We're like, oh, we heard people talking about this. Well,
it's the movie.
And we put it on and it's in black and white. And we're like looking at it like we stopped it, took out the tape, blew in the VCR like it was an old Nintendo. Like, what the fuck is going on? Then like you flip around the back of the box and at the bottom it says, 98 minutes, whatever. BNW, and we're like, holy, this is a black and white movie? Like, what? And then we didn't watch it. I think the other movie we had picked up the same day was Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. I think those are the two movies we read. So we watched that one instead, and we're like, all right, fuck, this one is great. But I returned Clerks and then didn't watch it again for like another year or something.
I get it, though.
But like the stuff with the guy and checking all the eggs and sitting on the floor but you give Clerks a lot of credit where it was the first one to have like pop culture chatter in the movie because that's what people did. It was just was the first time it was ever really acknowledged.
Yes, it was.
Hey, it's fun to think that I'm in the same toy line as Jay and Silent Bob.
It's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Like that's pretty crazy.
Macho and Jay and Silent Bob.
I just got my Macho Man Bendy last week. It's beautiful.
Looks great.
So I had a nice run on top, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll be doing a repeat of Bendy of the Year this year.
That's all right. We'll get him next time, champ.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's all I watched this week, Joe, except for one last thing that we both watched here.
It's Love Month, baby.
Oh, baby. Love Month kicking it off officially with this. I don't know. Is this a classic? I don't know.
I don't think it's a classic.
I know you folks, when we brought it up a couple weeks ago, people seem to enjoy the movie. It got the folks talking. So let's check this one out here.
So this movie came up because when we did Slang and Slang and watched the Jim Carrey Grinch movie,
Yes.
which was the highest grossing whatever at the box office, I said, this shockingly, what the fifth grossing movie of the year 2000 was this romantic comedy, What Women Want, with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt. And that shocked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because while it's a movie I've watched many times, I don't picture that as the kind of box office bonanza movie that should be coming in fifth in domestically for the year 2000, right?
Mel Gibson was a star. That's the only thing.
And Mel Gibson is a superstar at the time, and Helen Hunt was a superstar.
Yeah,
because that was immediately after she got all the accolades Oscars, for As Good as It Gets.
Yeah, great movie. Love that movie.
Great movie. So she's at that point a star, and she's still reveling in.
Yeah.
Did she win the Oscar for that year, or she was nominated? Or
she definitely was nominated.
And so this is only a year or so after that.
Yeah,
so
definitely
you've got two big time movie stars at that point. So maybe we should have saw it coming, but still, $187 million.
That's a lot of fucking money, bro. That's
domestically.
In 2000, that's a lot of money, bro. For a romantic comedy, crazy. Goddamn.
You know, when you look at the worldwide take with the international, you're looking at almost $375 million.
It's a smash. I'm surprised it's not a sequel.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. And this was all done on a $70 million budget. There's not really any elaborate sets here. We have an office set, we have a home set. So that's really all salary here.
Mel Gibson.
But this movie is What Women Want from the year 2000, a running time of 2 hours and 7 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.4. Rotten Tomatoes, both critics and audiences, rated at 54%.
I did real fast, Joe. You just reminded me something. That Jay and Silent Bob movie is the 93% viewer score on Rotten Tomatoes. So basically, the reboot, yeah, 93. It's like a 54 from the critics, and then the audience is a 93. I was like, holy shit. But I get it. If you're gonna watch the movie, you're gonna like it pretty much.
Yeah.
My goodness. That totally jogged my memory. I'm sorry. Go back to Mel Gibson here.
So, like I said, it was the fifth highest grossing domestic movie in the year 2000. Number 4 on that list, right above it, was Gladiator at 187.7. So just about 5 million more. And I forget about how big a thing Gladiator was at the time, because that was like an epic, That's a movie I want to go back and rewatch. It's been a long time since I've seen that. And right behind it at number 6 was The Perfect Storm at 182.6. So only a couple $100,000 difference between What Women Want and The Perfect Storm.
That seems like a lot of money for The Perfect Storm, bro.
But
on a boat movie,
but these kind of disaster movies at the time, Armageddon. What was the other one? Deep Impact or whatever. Like these disaster movies were business at the time.
But that's not even. It's but it's like an adult movie disaster movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but this is the thing. People were going to the movies. I mean, this movie, What Women Want, made $182 million domestically. Like, people are going to the movies.
They're seeing anything. What's playing this week?
Before this, like, what did Mel Gibson do? Ransom? Give me back my son!
It's a great movie, bro. I haven't seen that movie. Give me back my son!
That's another thing that I've tweeted out 100 times over the years.
You never seen it?
When I first started, I went to the theaters to see it.
Okay.
When I started doing the Revolting Blob, one of the Revolting Blob's like things I decided was that like that was his catchphrase was gonna be "Give me back my son."
What a catchphrase!
So I would tweet it, and then in the middle of matches, I might yell it, or if I was doing promos, I would end it with "Give me back my son," and no one had any idea what I was doing, but most people just assumed I was talking about CPA, and that CPA was the Blob's son.
Oh my god, hysterical, bro.
So what is this movie about, Gomez? We get a cocky, chauvinistic advertising executive magically acquires the ability to hear what women are thinking.
Sounds
pretty
like a good
basic
thing to
layout,
do.
right?
Yeah. Would you want that ability, Joe? Because seems like it's a powerful thing to have, you know?
See, I think the movie does a good job of explaining the power of this
It
power.
does.
Because at first he's completely overwhelmed by him. We get Mel Gibson
Yes.
plays the character of Nick Marshall here. So Nick is a real piece of shit.
Oh, yes, he is.
Nobody likes him.
Why
Except
would
that
they?
he's the idea of what the cool rich guy is. The
Yes.
swinging bachelor. He's got the cool loft apartment, in the, downtown area of Chicago. He's living the life. He wears nice clothes. So he's what the guys think is the prototype for what they want to be. Meanwhile, women everywhere hate him.
Yes,
Anyone
like
who comes in
this fucking
contact
guy.
with him is like, oh, this fucking douche. But stupid girls still go out of their way to sleep with him because they have daddy issues, and he's an older man and then look, that's what it is, right?
Possible, sure. He's also very handsome.
Yeah,
that goes
he's
a long
handsome,
way.
but he's handsome and rich, but he's a bit older and grizzled too.
There you go. Yes, that's Zaddy, right?
But he gets this power, and at first he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He doesn't know how to control it, what to do, what to think, where to look. And then finally, once he's able to really harness it, he's able to use it to his advantage. So would I want this power? Absolutely.
Joe cuts the movie off in the second act. Like, this is it. He knows how to use it. Movie over.
The movie wasn't over. I was already getting ready to throw the hairdryer in the bathtub. Nick is he's just a fucking scumbag. He's a terrible father. He's divorced. He's got an absurdly hot ex-wife that he's still trying to hit on, even at her own wedding when she's getting remarried to.
Yes.
But meanwhile, his daughter hates him, doesn't want anything to do with him. The people at work outside of the two older lady assistants that he has, all hate him, and he's too even fucking egotistical to even recognize it.
He's all in his own head, his own shit.
Have a little self-awareness, Nick Marshall.
He is. It's just oh, this guy's real fucking annoying. He's over the top. Every stereotype you think of, hey, what's a piece of shit pig kind of guy? He's hitting all the notes, all of them.
And then he's threatened because his advertising agency brings in a new executive, as played by Helen Hunt, Darcy McGuire. She's coming from another big time agency, and she's done some really big jobs and big work. So she's like a name in the industry. So she gets brought into this and gets the job that Nick wanted.
Yes.
And now his life is thrown into tumult because he doesn't know how to handle this, having to answer to a woman now. And one of the first jobs that she gives out is she hands everybody in the meeting a gift basket of all these products and says, I want you to come up with a pitch for one of the products in this basket. And they're all women-centric items.
Yeah.
Pantyhose, lipstick, there's all women's. Yeah. So Nick decides everything Nick keeps coming up with is from the guy's perspective. Even when he's thinking about the lipstick, he's lipstick on the collar, lipstick on the neck. Bro, what are you're gonna sell? Be a good mistress. Leave your mark on his collar. That's your advertising plan, Nick Marshall. But he decides he's gonna really get into it, and he starts testing out all the products. He has a mishap in his bathroom where he drops the hair dryer into the bathtub with his foot gets caught, and all of a sudden an electric shock gives him the power to hear what women think. You would think that there would have to be some kind of cross-contamination. I've seen The Fly.
I know. Something should have happened besides just I guess because he was wearing the pantyhose and the lipstick.
And because he was thinking about getting into women's heads, that now all of a sudden he can do it. But like I've seen The Fly, the fly had to go into the thing at the same time as the person to make a humanoid fly, right? We've seen Ninja Turtles with Baxter Stockman. The same shit happens. We've seen that one episode of The Simpsons where Bart gets turned into the Fly. We've seen The Fly. We've all seen The Fly in some form or fashion.
Happens quite a bit.
And this is just so what happens now? Is there a possibility I drop the blow dryer in my bathtub? I hear what guys think. I don't want to fucking know.
Maybe you die. Maybe you find out.
Yeah, what happens if I die, Nick Marshall?
Do not try this at home.
So he starts hearing and finding out that everybody thinks he's a jerk off. Yes. And I don't want to say he goes about trying to change his ways because he doesn't. He becomes a more devious asshole.
Super jerk off. I'll show you.
Now he can use their thoughts against them. And there's one scene in particular that I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck are you even doing? Where he's in the office with Helen Hunt and he can hear her thoughts where she's like, oh my God, like, am I actually attracted to this guy? And she drops something on the floor and she, in her head, says, oh, don't look at his penis. Don't look at his penis. And then he does this like shuffle with his pants, his slacks, like he's bouncing his cock meat up against his slacks. And he does this like 2 or 3 times. And it's just like, who does this?
Why would you be doing that?
In what realm do you do this little bounce and shuffle unless there's a pole in your hand? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Please stop pelvic thrusting in my office, sir.
Exactly.
He's very bad. First of all, how terrible is this? So I take it that he, because one of the first things he does is he hooks up with Marissa Tomei.
Yes.
Because he's like, oh, I know. Oh, I know she wants it. So here we go. And so they're making love, and he's terrible at it. Just the absolute worst. So that makes it even worse, right? This guy's just sleeping around all over town and just giving women
just
just
dishing
the
out
worst
bad sex everywhere.
Just the worst sex they ever had. So he really is
with a
worst.
cigarette in his mouth. And that's one of the things that surprised me. That's one of the things that surprised me about this movie was how prevalent the cigarette smoking was, because we forget that there was a time where you could smoke basically everywhere.
Bro.
And this is still 2000. But I mean, he's in the office, he's smoking. He's at the coffee shop, he's smoking. He's at home, he's smoking. No matter where he is, he's smoking. Even the boss is like, oh, why don't you come up to the office, have a cigar with me?
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Just we lived in just all that smoke. Everywhere we went, we were just chilling and smoke because one guy wanted to smoke.
I remember when they first started making the laws that like, we're going to start prohibiting smoking in bars. And people were like, who would ever go to a bar if you can't smoke in it?
I know. I know. Don't you miss it though? Sitting at the bar, having 100%. A cigarette. It's like,
because in the places where you still can, it feels like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Naughty boy.
Yeah, I do. I get that little naughty. Like I have that feeling. I love it. There's something about sitting there with your drink and your smoke and just talking about your day or what's on the big sports game.
I gotta stand outside the freeze.
He gets Marissa Tomei, and Marissa Tomei is like this down on her luck, coffee barista. And he's like, this is like just a conquest for him. Look at me. I'm the mighty Nick Marshall, gonna bag me this barista. And then he's fucking terrible. And he has to lie to her because she gets hooked. She thinks they have this magical evening. He never calls her again. Not even to say, hey, I don't think this is gonna work out, but I had a lovely time. Maybe send her a gift basket like he's Derek Jeter or something.
Well, he just stopped going to the coffee shop.
And he stopped buying coffee.
He's like, would you stop drinking coffee? Some real shit, bro.
And then what does he do? He goes out and says, oh, it's not you. I'm gay.
Yes.
That's even worse. This woman obviously knows where you live. She knows you from the neighborhood. What? Like you're just going to be out with Darcy McGuire gallivanting around town now, and you're not going to run into poor Lola, Miss Lonely Heart here?
Poor Marissa Tomei. You deserve better, honey.
And then we get Erin, the file girl, who's feels very forgotten and not thought about. She's played by a young Judy Greer, who we see in a ton of things nowadays.
Yes, she is.
She's in the Ant-Man series. She was in Arrested Development, where she played Kitty Sanchez.
The new Halloween movies.
Yeah, she's in a ton of things. And here she's like the file girl, and everybody mistreats her or ignores her. And it's very odd how we thought about mental illness in 2000 or loneliness or just mental health in general. And how this girl is just like, I feel very alone. No one cares about me. No one's going to miss me. But Nick Marshall hears this, and then when she doesn't show up to work one day, he suddenly just runs to her beautiful looking apartment in like the Chinatown district of Chicago, and he like barges in the door, breaks into her room, and just there to save the day because this woman obviously needed a man to save her.
She needed it, bro. This movie's very absurd. Besides the listening to what women want part, the rest of it's very absurd too.
It's preposterous looking back. And you look at these things and you say, like, who would write this? I'm like, it has to be like some like old boomer male, like you know, you think that, but then it's directed by Nancy Myers. So I'm assuming that's a woman. And she also rewrote the script.
Yeah, Nancy Meyer movies are big deals. Like those are big romance, like, you know, those are big rom-com movies. People love Nancy Meyer movies.
She basically took the script, they gave it to her for rewrites. She tore the whole thing apart and rewrote it herself. And she wrote like this big male empowerment movie.
Hysterical. That's interesting. I wonder, I gotta see the story behind that. That's interesting. I wouldn't think this is one of her movies. It's usually not this kind of thing.
So, I mean, looking back, listen, if you take it for the time period and what Mel Gibson was, you know, he was a sex god at the time. He was the symbol. He was one of the biggest actors, probably the sexiest man alive that year for all I know.
100%. Yes, 100%. People love him.
If you look at it from that perspective, you can be entertained by this movie. If you look at it through the prism of 2024, you're going to be out on this movie about 6 seconds in.
Oh yes, of course. This is not. It's not a movie that gets made at all today. Not so even
Gomez,
an idea.
You brought up the idea of like, why wouldn't they do a sequel with that kind of box office? And the thing was, they tried. There was a report in 2009 of a What Men Want type of sequel where the roles would be reversed.
Sure.
And apparently Cameron Diaz was attached to that. It never did get made. But 10 years after that, just 5 years ago in 2019, it did come out. What Men Want. And it starred Taraji P. Henson.
Really? Where the fuck is this at?
No one knows.
Is this a movie? It's a movie, right? Okay, I kind of remember this, but I didn't know it was that kind of. What a terrible movie! That sounds boring. Oh, look at her; she got a fat ass. I want to see if she come over here. Like, what's the movie? Like, every guy is just like, what are you doing?
So originally, this movie was under the working title of Head Games, which sounds awful.
Head Games, Jesus.
And it was pitched to Touchstone Pictures in 1996 as a vehicle for who else, Gomez? I want you to take a guess. Who could have been the starring role of Nick Marshall in this movie?
What year was this?
1996, when the movie's originally pitched.
1996. So, I mean, Keanu Reeves is kind of popular, but I don't see him. Like, I'm trying to think of that kind of man. It's got to be like a manly man. Who's a manly man?
It's got to be a gruff man. Like, the kind of man who works with tools and that kind of man.
Get the fuck out of here.
Tim Allen was who they wanted attached to this. Now,
I get it. When you say it, I can see him doing that kind of movie. It's totally different. I don't see the same movie, but I can
it's
see
not
him.
the same movie with Tim Allen as it is with Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson has that one scene where he's dancing to the Frank Sinatra in the house by himself. Tim Allen, what is gonna happen?
Bro, so much Frank Sinatra in this fucking movie. To be a man, you gotta listen to Frank. Shut the fuck up. What is this?
I don't know where that came. Was that a thing at the time? Like all high class, wealthy bachelors listen to Frank Sinatra. What? Was that like a theme ever?
Probably. People are corny, and people always thinking back, men being men, the Rat Pack, just blah blah blah. Shut up.
But I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine what this movie or how it would differ if Tim Allen was in it.
I see it.
He's not an advertising executive. Like, can you picture Tim Allen being? It's got to be some kind of.
He's kind of like a regular man. In my head, he's like just like kind of a regular guy. He's not nothing fancy, nothing. He just kind of gets this power, and I don't see him doing bad. I see him using it to his advantage to maybe get ahead, but not like to sleep with ladies. I don't see him doing creepy stuff like that.
At the time, we talked about the box office. At the time, this movie was so popular that it was the highest December opening weekend of all time, which surpassed Scream 2. But it only lasted a year, as it was then surpassed in 2001 by Ocean's 11.
Scream 3. I was gonna say Scream 3. Oh, that's fun. But I always love that. It's like, the number one December movie, and then you look, it's like it's always garbage. It's like it beat nothing. Oh, I love it.
So there we go. What women want at the end of it, after it comes out that he has this power and he admits it, and he's been stealing Darcy's ideas and using them to impress the boss. That way he could get her job, even though they're like supposedly falling in love. So he's like basically cheating against this person that he's falling in love with. And she's like, well, obviously you're fired, but does this have to be it? Yes. Have you never been in a relationship? But what kind of relationship do you think you're going to have?
Oh, look, you're fired, but hey, what are you doing later?
Like he's getting ready to walk, like he knows he fucked up. And he's getting ready. He's like, I got to admit it. She lost her job. I got her job back. Now it's my time to go. I understand I'm fired, whatever. I'll go. And she's like, well, why does this have to be it? Because that's how life works, toots. This is the guy you want to keep around? You kidding me?
It's true.
Maybe he didn't cheat on you physically, but he cheated you. He cheated you, the person. Everything you've worked for, everything you put your life into, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. This motherfucker went into your fucking head and stole that shit. And you want to be with him. You're an idiot. This relationship is doomed.
No lies detected, bro. It's not a good look. It's not a good way to start a relationship.
And I've seen this movie before, and then when it comes to the end, and she's like, oh, but does this have to be it? And he's like, well, no. I mean, if you still want it, I still got it to give. Like, duh. I was amazed. I can't believe someone wrote this and thought it was a good idea. Like, he didn't learn his lesson at all. He got no comeuppance.
No comeuppance. Bro, He's a piece of shit at the start of the movie. He's a piece of shit at the end of
And
the
he's
movie.
a bigger piece of shit at the end who got rewarded for being a piece of shit. So what did we learn, people?
Be a
Be
piece
a
of shit.
piece of shit.
Let me hit some music.
Are you a man? A double main man? Are you a man? A triple main man? A man? A quadruple main man? Are you a man? Are you a man?
All right, Joe. What women want? The 2000. Ain't no classic over here, I'll tell you that. Where is this falling on your main man standards?
Listen, I saw this when it first came out. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. It went along with the time period, right? It fit. Like, this was the cool guy. Yeah, we all hope to be rich and have that nice office and that nice apartment and that money and you know, be handsome like that. I got most of those things. I am handsome. So I can actually relate to that kind of stuff. But watching it now, I would hope that I am a much better person than fucking Nick Marshall. What a scumbag. I would hope that no woman in my life ever attaches themselves to a Nick Marshall. It's not, I want better for you. I want you to have better. You deserve better than pieces of shit like Nick Marshall. What a horrible, horrible human being. That said, I still think this movie has a lot of fun value to it, and I give it a triple main man.
I did not have fun with this movie. I fucking hate this movie. I was not having fun. I was like, this guy fucking sucks. I'm tired of listening to fucking Frank Sinatra. I had enough. I was like, enough of this shit. Oh,
At the end of the day, there's not anybody you're cheering for, right? Because he's such a bad person that you're not cheering for him to get the girl at the end.
No,
and
he don't deserve her.
He doesn't. And then when she turns around and still doesn't want him to leave, you're like, oh, honey, no. So who are you cheering for at the end of this? Outside of Erin, the file girl, who maybe has a real job now.
Oh, terrible movie. 1.5 star. Terrible.
I liked it. I definitely liked it a lot more in my head from the previous times I watched it.
Sure.
I'm still laughing at some of the jokes because I remember my reaction to them back 24 years ago. So that's why I still give it a 3. It's still made for an entertaining, nostalgic type of watch. If I was seeing this movie for the first time today, I don't think I would feel the same. I'd probably feel closer to what you do.
Let's have enough talking about a piece of shit. Let's see what we're gonna watch next week, Joe.
Oh, I can't wait. We're still in the month of love, right?
It's the month of love, and so I wanted to watch
Valentine's Day is gonna be what by the next week before next week's episode. So this is gonna be our last episode before Valentine's Day. I hope you all have your plans, your dinner plans, your sexy plans, your date plan, your roses, your chocolates, your sliced turkey on rye, a little bit of brown gravy, maybe some mashed potatoes on the sandwich. Make it's a good sandwich.
Yeah, of course.
Hot turkey sandwich. I could go for one of those right now.
Oh,
nothing says love like a hot turkey sandwich on rye.
You talking real sexy to me this episode. That's what I tell you. All episode, you've been really.
If there's one thing I know, it's the art of seduction.
Oh man. All right. So because it's Love Month and we had a piece of shit movie, I think we should watch something nice. Something maybe I said a classic last time. It wasn't
Can I make a
classic.
request?
Yeah, what?
I don't know if you've got like a list of movies in front of you, but I want something that makes me feel good about love again. Because this movie took me out of it.
See, that's
so
I
want something to believe in that's going to make me believe in love again.
Then we're gonna go with this one. Then we got a list here, but we're gonna pick this one here. This movie's playing on the Hulu. It's playing on the Max. This is a new classic. We're gonna watch, Joe. We're gonna watch The Notebook. We're gonna fall in love. We're gonna go through it. Oh boy, I will say this, Joe. Have your tissues ready, because this is gonna make you feel all the feelings, baby.
I've never seen The Notebook.
All the feelings. This is good.
I have a story about The Notebook that I'll tell next week, but I've never seen it.
Movie is 2 hours long. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't tell you if you feel the 2 hours or not. But I mean, it's emotional, so maybe just be prepared. Hulu.
I love
Max,
emotion.
Let's do it. Love month. Let's do it.
The Notebook. Let's do it. Who's this is what, Rachel McAdams?
Rachel McAdams and our boy Ryan Gosling, baby.
And Ryan okay.
I believe the other guy is James Marsden or something like that, I think, or someone. Ooh. Yes, James Marsden is the other guy. There's got to be another guy.
Don't give me too much.
No, don't worry about it. It's about a forbidden love. Come on. That's what you need to know.
Those are such good kinds of love, too.
The best kind of love.
Oh, but that's going to be for next week, JoeMeZ. We still need to finish up this week.
Oh, let me hear some music for you, baby. It's now time for the big finish. All right, baby. It's big finish time. Oh, man. Let's spin this wheel. What are we going to do this week? All right, Joe. Today's big finish. We got a fuck, marry, kill. You ready, baby?
I'm so ready.
Here are your 3 choices for this one.
Okay.
Your choices are Ronald McDonald, the Hamburglar, and the Grimace.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit. It's a tough one.
I think the marry is the easy one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to marry Ronald McDonald? Is
100%.
I married. He feels like a good companion. I like the good companion. He makes you laugh.
I just got finished saying I want something to make me believe in true love, and I just said, now I'm marrying for money. The colossus of contradictions here.
I'm thinking I'm going to fuck the Grimace. I got to know what's up with the Grimace, bro. I need it.
The Grimace is supposedly made of milkshakes, right?
Bro, it's got some curves, right? I could get down with the Grimace. Let me see that.
I don't know about that.
See that gussy, whatever.
The Grimace might be too much for me.
But I don't know. That Hamburglar, he looks sketchy. I don't know if I want to be getting down in the sheets with the Hamburglar.
So you want to marry him and get to know him?
He looks sketch, bro. I don't know. Like he might be good, bad boy, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so I got mine. Like I said, I'm gonna marry Ronald.
Okay.
The Hamburglar, I'm gonna have to kill.
Yeah, I think so. Because
he just seems like the type who would be in it for himself. He wouldn't worry about my pleasure.
I can see that. In and out.
And as someone who is noted to be about themselves, much like Nick Marshall in What Women Want, we can't have 2 people not with the same end game here. So that's not going to work for either one of us. I feel like the Grimace would be a much more giving lover. So I will fuck the Grimace.
I agree. 100%. Gotta fuck that Grimace. Definitely killing that Hamburglar. I don't want to be around that fucking guy. Get that guy out of my face. And Ronald, I know he's got a lot of money, like Joe said, but I also think he'd be a good companion. We have good times together, laugh. He's always trying to make you feel good, Yeah, Ronald McDonald. We're gonna marry that guy.
It's not necessarily a face I want to wake up to every morning.
That's not
a bank account.
That's not bad. It's true. That red hair, little afro he got going on. You know, it could
Nose.
be better. But listen,
The
you
big
gonna
ass
marry the
clown
ham?
shoes. Imagine those fucking feet tapping you in the middle of the night.
You know, now we're starting to think about things here. But
See?
but what you gonna marry the Hamburglar, bro?
I would do a lot for money. Oh no, I'm not gonna marry the Hamburglar. I'm gonna stay with Ronald. I'm just not gonna be like in love. I'm just going to.
mean, you know, it could be a loveless marriage. It doesn't have to be a loving relationship. It could just be
No, love is an end goal, is a hope that not everyone gets to accomplish. You know, is a dream of some. Not everybody gets to experience true love. I have. I've fallen in love many dozens of times. But at some point it ends. And only the truest of love stories have no ending. So maybe my story has yet to be told.
Finish that story, Cody. Finish that story.
You ain't the only one with a story, Cody. But thank you guys for listening to the Card JoeMeZ podcast. Remember to subscribe to this show, share it with all your friends, leave us a 5-star review, follow us on all the social media at Card JoeMeZ. You can follow me over at The Joe Shoes. I'll be in Girard, Ohio this weekend for Toy Ohio. I've also got Philadelphia coming up with the Major Wrestling Figure podcast at the beginning of April. And I may think I will be back in Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the beginning of May sometime. So maybe you can see me there. Also check out youtube.com/Joe Shoes for food reviews. New Oreo review went up. By the time you hear this episode, you'll have a new coffee creamer review. So there is stuff in the pipeline, and I'm hopefully going to have more of it to come in the future.
Love it. The JoeMeZ 154 Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Twitch.tv/Mez Movie. Give a follow. You never know, folks.
And we're continuing the month of love next week with The Notebook, a recent classic. It's not, I wouldn't say it's even that recent anymore. It's probably 20 years for The Notebook now. So this is probably just considered a classic at this point, and that's showing on both Hulu and HBO Max for you guys to check it out and watch along with us. So that'll be for next week. But JoeMeZ, until then, let's make like Tom and cruise.
Peace.